All right, let's dive right in. We're looking at a high-stakes diplomatic standoff where truly the world is holding its breath. You've got two longtime adversaries, a potential peacemaker caught right in the middle, and a negotiation that's teetering on the edge of complete collapse. This is a story where words are basically weapons, and the silence, well, the silence is deafening. Let's break down how this whole delicate dance just fell apart.
So our story kicks off in Islamabad, Pakistan. And really, the stage is completely set. You have parts of the city sealed off, official signs are up. You can just feel the anticipation in the air. This was supposed to be the spot for historic peace talk between the United States and Iran. Everything, and I mean everything, was in place.
But here's the reality. That grand hotel, prepped and ready for these high-level delegations, totally empty. All the fevered whispers about a breakthrough have just faded. The flurry of activity has ground to a dead stop. And all those preparations now just feel like a hollow echo of a hope that has completely vanished. Which, of course, brings us to the central question of this entire mess. The stage was set, the mediator was waiting, but the main players, they never even showed up. So what happened? Where are the peacemakers? And why did this incredibly important chance for dialogue just disappear into thin air? You know, the mood in the Pakistani capital really tells you everything you need to know. For any mediator, and trust me on this, managing expectations is absolutely paramount. What started out as a week of really intense hope has soured, and it shows just how fragile this entire diplomatic effort really was from the beginning. All that earlier buzz, the rumors about press pools being scrambled from Washington, talk of giant C-17 transport planes landing at a nearby military base, it's all gone. And in its place is the stark, gloomy realization that a massive opportunity may have just been lost.
Okay, so while those negotiating rooms in Islamabad are empty, the tension on the water is anything but. To really get why these talks were so critical, you have to look at what's happening in one of the world's most vital waterways, the Strait of Hormuz. Instead of, direct military clashes, the US and Iran are locked in what people are calling a war of blockades. Basically, both sides are using force to intercept and seize commercial ships. The whole situation is being described as combustible. It's a really dangerous game of chicken that could so easily spiral out of control into a much, much bigger conflict.
And who's caught smack in the middle of this? Pakistan, the country that was supposed to host the whole thing. For them, this isn't just about regional peace. It's a huge diplomatic gamble with their own reputation right on the line. Look, Pakistan invested heavily in making this happen. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif put a ton of diplomatic capital on the table. If it worked, it would have cemented Pakistan's influence in a big way. But a failure like this, it becomes a major public setback, and it proves just how incredibly hard it is for a middle power to mediate when the two big players won't even agree to be in the same room. So why? Why did the Iranian delegation refuse to even board the plane? Well, the answer seems to have less to do with actions on the water and everything to do with the war of words, specifically the wildly inconsistent messages coming out of Washington. On one hand, you've got President Trump using this incredibly aggressive rhetoric. From a diplomatic perspective, that kind of language immediately puts the other side on the defensive. It makes it politically almost impossible for them to be seen as giving in to threats. And then, almost in the next breath, the entire tone shifts to one of reconciliation. An olive branch is suddenly offered. This creates massive confusion, and more importantly, it just erodes trust. Who are they supposed to be negotiating with? The aggressor or the peacemaker? And here, you see the direct result. Iran's official reason for staying home? It's not about troop movements or sanctions, it's about words. They point directly to Washington's contradictory behavior and what they call a breach of commitments. In modern diplomacy, chaotic public messaging can be just as big of an obstacle as a physical blockade. But this communication problem, it actually gets even deeper. The inconsistency from the US side raises a really fundamental question, one that President Trump himself kind of brought into the open. In a Truth Social post, the president himself said the Iranian regime is seriously fractured. Now, whether that was a deliberate strategy or just a casual thought, it highlights a massive diplomatic challenge. If the very leadership you're trying to negotiate with is broken, who actually has the authority to make a deal stick?
The president's comment really just taps into a fierce debate that's already happening among seasoned Iran watchers. With so many of the old guard gone, there's genuine uncertainty about who is truly calling the shots in Tehran right now.
And this leads us to the ultimate diplomat's dilemma. How can you possibly broker a lasting peace treaty when you're not even sure the person signing it can enforce it back home? This uncertainty, this regime fracture, it might just be the single biggest roadblock to any kind of real progress.
So where does this all leave us? Well, for the moment, a fragile ceasefire that was set to expire is holding on thanks to a last-minute extension. The guns are silent, but those underlying tensions are absolutely boiling just beneath the surface. Some folks, including President Trump, are saying a deal is still possible. But as we've just seen, the core issues, the confusing messages, the total lack of trust, and the serious questions about who's in charge in Iran, all of those remain completely unresolved. The foundation for a lasting agreement, it just isn't there yet.
And that leaves us with one final and pretty sobering thought. In the quiet corridors of Islamabad and out on the tense waters of the Strait of Hormuz, are we witnessing a genuine, even if it's fragile, ceasefire? Or is this just a pause? A moment for everyone to reload before the next and possibly even more dangerous storm?